Now let's dive into our feature story of the day and discuss this $300,000 Bitcoin price target this year by the end of 2024, according to Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki. And welcome everyone joining the stream. Pump the likes to pump the stream. I appreciate that. So yeah, renowned financial guru, the one and only Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki, recently shared a tweet on X projecting Bitcoin surging to 300,000 by the end of this year. Let's just start with the tweet actually right here. He wrote, "Bitcoin on fire. The biggest mistake you can make is to procrastinate. Important to start, even if only for $500. Next stop, $300,000 per Bitcoin in 2024. Now, that's a hell of a target. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel we have that potential to reach as high as $300,000 per coin this year? Holla at your boy. Now, he stressed that even a modest investment of $500 could yield significant returns in the face of Bitcoin's projected ascent to 300,000. And let's discuss that for a second, because there is a misconception. Some people genuinely believe, and I want to have a discussion on this, that, hey, I don't have 67,000, therefore I cannot buy a Bitcoin, so therefore I'm just going to buy the ish coins. I can't afford the whole coin. Meanwhile, I can buy 10 trillion of the meme coin. It's like, okay, think about this for a second. One Bitcoin can be divided by 100 million Satoshis, so it's irrelevant. You don't need to own a full Bitcoin. That should be everyone's goal. Don't get it twisted. However, you can get started for $5. You can get started holding, the equivalent of $100 worth of Bitcoin. It's irrelevant. The point is, get in the game and hold something, because something is better than nothing. Here's how that would look like. Hypothetically, say, for the sake of easy round numbers, let's say Bitcoin was only trading at 50,000 today and you bought $500 worth of Bitcoin, and then later in the year, Bitcoin hits the coveted six-figure milestone and is valued at 100,000 USD. Well, your $500 investment turns into 1,000. So you can still benefit from Bitcoin and be a Bitcoiner by holding a portion or a fraction of a Bitcoin. That's why we say stack and sats. For those of you new to the channel, that just means stacking Satoshis. Again, one Bitcoin divided by 100 million Satoshis, aka sats. So it's better to be in the game versus not hold any Bitcoin and be on the sidelines. And it's better to have the fastest horse in the race with the least risk, which is the king crypto, BTC, hence why it is the king. So I love his recommendation here. Just get in the game, even if it's only for $500, family. Now, this isn't the first time Rich Dad has made bold predictions about Bitcoin. Last year, he forecasted that by 2025, Bitcoin will skyrocket to 500,000 per coin. $500,000? Send it. He also has been a long advocate for Bitcoin, with his optimism towards the asset stemming from his belief that alternative assets serve as safeguards against economic instability. Kiyosaki advocates for investments into Bitcoin, gold, and silver, positioning them as more secure stores of value compared to traditional fiat currencies like the US dollar, precisely because the US dollar is not a store of value. In fact, it's the worst store value. You're guaranteed to lose 20 to 30% per year due to hyperinflation, right? Or inflation in general, however you want to coin it. That's why Saylor described keeping fiat currency in the bank is equivalent to a melting ice cube. It just makes no sense. Instead, you want to save in Bitcoin, fam, because the purchasing power of Bitcoin is mathematically guaranteed. It's a mathematical certainty to increase in purchasing power. Meanwhile, the dollar, it's a mathematical certainty. It's a mathematical guarantee to decrease your purchasing power. He believes the US dollar will one day meet its demise, advocating for Bitcoin and precious metals as crucial contributors to financial resilience in uncertain economic times. That's right. It's a hedge against the inflation. It's a hedge against the corruption. It's a hedge against the powers that be and everything in between. His latest prediction comes at a time when the Bitcoin price is experiencing volatility. Good, because volatility equals opportunity. Volatility equals life force, and is definitely a good thing, family. Bitcoin hit new all-time highs just the other day, surpassing the previous record set of 69,000 back in November 2021. This rally was driven by the excitement surrounding Bitcoin ETFs and the anticipation of the upcoming halving event scheduled to take place in roughly 44 days. However, following the Tuesday peak, we did witness a sell-off, plummeting Bitcoin 14%, again touching roughly 59,000, which was a great buy the dip opportunity, hence why I tweeted, buy the dip, great buying opportunity, family. So hopefully many of you took advantage of that. And similar to the price surges occurred in 2012, which was the time of the first halving, in 2016, following record-breaking rallies, leading many to believe that the Bitcoin current momentum can propel it to new heights in the coming years. If historical patterns repeat, Bitcoin could enter the six-digit price territory. So what are your thoughts, family, on Kiyosaki saying 300,000 the next stop for Bitcoin in 2024? And I'm going to share some of my insights. Then I'm going to read some of your comments out loud as we continue this pump. 68,000 incoming, family. Pump the likes to pump the stream. You already know. So yeah, I think 100,000 is a very conservative target for 2024. I think 100,000 in play could come by the time of the halving in 44 days. I think 300,000 is optimistic for this year. However, what if the previous cycles and the models are all broken and we're in uncharted territory, which many would say, considering what we're witnessing this year with the institutional FOMO since January 11th when the ETFs got approved, unprecedented levels of Bitcoin being purchased up, leading me to believe there's going to be a massive supply and demand shock this year. And also considering we already hit the new all-time high for the first time in Bitcoin history, leading into a halving is another sign. So maybe we peak out and hit the cycle peak in 2024. Anything is possible. We really don't know what's going to happen because it's unprecedented, right? Which is definitely a bullish indicator. And that's what makes things so exciting being involved in Bitcoin at a time like this. We don't know. Once we re-enter price discovery above 69,300, we can rip to 70, 80, 90, 100. There's no telling what we can do. We can hit $250,000 this year. It's in the cards. We can hit Kiyosaki's $300,000 target. There's no top to Bitcoin because there's no bottom to the fiat Ponzi tulip bowl monopoly money. You got to factor all that in. And then once you start to factor nation state adoption, El Salvador continuing to purchase Bitcoin, other nation states making announcements that they've been collecting Bitcoin. Edward Snowden, about a week ago, I covered it on the podcast, shared that there's a nation state secretly purchasing Bitcoin. They're going to be announcing it this year. So this is the year. It's a big year. 2024, again, presidential election later on in the year, supply shock, demand shock, massive demand coming through the ETFs. We're also going to have a retail FOMO. Apparently, when we enter price discovery, that's when retail goes crazy. People love to buy the tops. They don't love to buy the bottom for whatever reason. Go figure. But great time to be alive. Great time to be in Bitcoin. I couldn't be more bullish right now. Cycle peak, I'll share my prediction I share very often. I think bull scenario for this cycle for a peak, 500,000. I think bear scenario still puts us at 222,000 per Bitcoin. I want to know your thoughts, family. Drop your insights and predictions in the comment as we continue to pump it up.
Do your thing, let me do my thing.